Hello, and welcome to the 2013-2014 Midwest Conference Men's Basketball Preseason Preview. I am Corey Weibel, the Director of Media and Information at the Midwest Conference, and this season we are going to take you on a video preview of the 2013-14 men's basketball season. During the preview, we will sit down with all 11 coaches and ask them about their expectations and outlooks for the upcoming season. Let's get right into the preview. Last season, St. Norbert claimed the Midwest Conference Championship for the third time in the last 4 seasons, and they are picked to do so again in the 2013-14 Men's Basketball Preseason Coaches Poll. St. Norbert earned 10 first-place votes and the maximum 100 points to headline the 11-team field and look to play in the NCAA tournament for the 4th time in the last 5 seasons. Carroll finished 3rd in the league last year and are projected to finish 2nd with 87 points. Beloit is tabbed for an MWC tournament appearance for the first time since the 2000-2001 season with a 3rd place designation with 78 points. Grinnell and their high-powered offense earned the other first place vote along with 73 points that have them tabbed 4th in the league in the preseason. Lawrence sits in 5th with 63 points while Cornell is projected 6th with 56 points. Illinois College is in 7th place with 44 points, followed by Lake Forest and Ripon in 8th and 9th respectively with 34 and 33 points. Monmouth finished with 27 points for a 10th place finish, while Knox rounds out the field with 10 points. The conference returns a lot of talent in the 2013-14 season, as 8 of the 12 All Midwest Conference award winners are back. St. Norbert guard Brandon Grice and Beloit forward James Lesarzik headlined the field as first-team award winners a year ago and come back with all 5 second-team honorees. Carroll returns a pair of second-team performers in guard Kevin Hurd and forward Alec Moulter and are joined by Illinois College guard Nate Kohler. Lawrence guard Chris Siebert and St. Norbert forward Andrew Schwer are also members of last year's All-MWC second team. Rounding out the returning All-MWC members are Cornell guard Reggie Greenwood and Beloit guard Steve McAfee, who were honorable mention selections. There is only one new face in the coaching realm this season, as Paul Combs takes over at Carroll. Combs comes into the league after spending the last 4 seasons as the coach of the Wayne State College Wildcats. Now, it's on to the team-by-team previews, starting with Beloit College. Now we turn to the team portion, as we first take a stop at Beloit and look at the Buccaneers roster, who were coached by head coach Brian Vraney. Last season, Vraney had the Buccaneers almost in the MWC tournament with a 10-8 league record and 12-11 overall record. The 12 wins were the most since the 2001-2002 season, and the 10 conference wins were the most since 1992-93 season. They only lost 1 player due to graduation and have the top 4 scorers coming back this year. James Lesarzik was 4th in the league in scoring, averaging 17.5 points per game, and also led the league in rebounding with 11.3 rebounds per game, while leading the entire NCAA Division III in field goal percentage, shooting almost 63% from the field. Steve McAfee scored 13.5 points per game, and Tyler Butke scored 13 points per game, also returned to help Lesarzik on the offensive end. Beloit led the league in field goal percentage, shooting better than 50% from the field, and were 3rd in field goal percentage defense, holding opponents under 43% shooting. Right now, let's take it down to Beloit and talk to head coach Brian Vraney. Brian, thanks for coming on with us today. Last year, a pretty successful season for you guys. 12 wins, 10 in the conference, the most in a long time. So, taking last year and coming into this year, what are your expectations?
Well, my expectation this year is that we're going to compete for a conference championship. We had a tough season last year, encouraging but tough in the same respect. And the one thing that I came away with from this past season was the fact that in talking to our guys after the season was over, none of them were satisfied with our performance. Certainly we're happy with the fact that we had the best season that Beloit College has had in 10 years, and we've worked hard to get to this point. I think that the hunger is there from our players, and we're really looking forward to this season, to getting into practice and playing some exciting basketball. We returned all of our starters from last year, which is certainly encouraging for me as a coach, and then also something that I know that our guys are really excited about, having the chance for our seniors to play together one last year, and they really feel that they have some things to prove in the conference.
Now, getting a taste of that, you said best in 10 years, getting a taste of that success, does it really help to have that senior-laden group come back and be able to build off that?
Certainly. I think anytime that you can get quality leadership from your senior class and certainly from your upper class, it really sets a positive tone in terms of work ethic and everything that our program is about for the younger players in our program. And to have a quality group of seniors that's going to really mentor them and teach them the ways that we want things to be done in our program is going to be really key to the success that we want to have this year.
So who are we looking for this season when you guys take the court?
Well, I think the obvious player that comes to mind is James Lazarczyk. He had a great year for us last year. He led the nation in field goal percentage. Somebody that averaged a double-double for us during the season in points and rebounds, was a first-team all-conference performer. I felt had we won a couple more games that he certainly could have been in the talk for Player of the Year in the conference last year, and it's given him a lot of motivation in this offseason to work hard and really have a solid senior year. Stephen McAfee was another player for us last year as a freshman that made honorable mention all-conference and created some difficult matchup problems and stuff with his length on the wing for us. And I know that he's really determined to have a great sophomore season this year. And overall, we had a couple other key players that really gave us some quality minutes, and Chris Bremner, Tyler Butke. We had a player that was a junior for us last year, Joe Pachetny, who struggled a good portion of the season with an injury, and came back the last couple games of the season and helped us win some games down the stretch, and he's healthy again, so we're excited to have him back on the court. And then rounding out our senior class, having some players like Steve Dowden in that group are really going to help us have the season that we want to have.
All right, Coach. Well, thanks for coming on, and good luck this season. Thanks to Coach Vraney for taking the time to join us. Now we're on to the Carroll University Pioneers, who is under first-year head coach Paul Combs. Last year, the Pioneers were 18-7 overall and earned an MWC tournament bid with a 13-5 conference record that was good for third in the league. The Pioneers finished third in the league in scoring defense, holding opponents under 70 points per game, while also finishing third, averaging 75.1 points per game. They led the entire league in three-point field goal percentage at 41% and also shot second best from the field at 49%. The Pioneers returned their top two scorers, led by Alec Moulter, who finished fourth in the league in rebounding and also averaged 11.7 points per game. Andrew Notling shot 66% from the field, which was good for second in the MWC, and also averaged 8.3 points per game. Kevin Hurd was second on the team in scoring at just better than 10 points per game and shot 50% from the field. Let's take it down to Waukesha and talk to head coach Paul Combs.
Paul Combs, head men's basketball coach at Carroll University in his first year after head coaching stints at Lakeland College, University of Wisconsin-Platteville, and most recently Division II Wayne State. Paul, welcome to the Midwest Conference. And first off, what were your impressions of this Carroll University program when you took it over this past spring?
First of all, I'm a product of this conference, the Midwest Conference, and being a student athlete. I'm a graduate of Ripon College. I've got great respect for this league and Carroll University, what they've done in the past. 10 straight winning seasons, doing with terrific student athletes. They've had Coach Buchanan and going back to Coach Schultz, did great jobs here in the last 10 years, and I'm very fortunate and feel very privileged to be a part of the program.
Yeah, well, you mentioned 10 straight winning seasons, so you must have had a real good idea, and maybe one of the reasons why you picked the Pioneers to come back to the state of Wisconsin, that this is a very successful program.
Well, it is, and there's a lot of forward thinking on this campus. There's a lot of positive things going on, not only in athletics but also in academics and all the other resources that this campus is continuing to grow. and it's a very healthy institution. So it's an exciting time to be here at Carroll, and an exciting time to be a Pioneer.
Well, as part of that success, you had a lot of great players that were in the program. Certainly have the small conference performers from last year, and you returned 2 of your top scorers. Why don't you talk about what you have here in the program so far?
Well, I think we have a team that's got 4 seniors. You mentioned the 2 all-conference players, and Alex Moulter and Kevin Hurd. Those 2 guys are sort of the bookends, the good shooter, the returning guard in Hurd, and then Moulter is one of the premier post player in the Midwest Conference and does a really good job of positioning himself and creating opportunities for the players. And then Andrew Notley is also a returning senior who had a really fantastic end of the season for Carroll. And then Christian Shepherd is returning from the Achilles injury that put him out early in the season, and he's going to be a redshirt senior for us. So I think we'll go as far as those 4 guys will lead us.
Okay, great. And you led the conference, the team last year in 3-point percentage of 41%. You were second in field goal percentage of 49%. I think when folks think about the Pioneer men's basketball team over a number of years, including 2 years ago when they
made the run.
Yeah, they made a run and they beat the number 1 seed Transylvania in the region, upset them in the first round. They were on some sort of a hot streak in shooting. Do you envision that still being a hallmark of this program, having great shooters?
Well, I think the one thing that we will do is we'll share the ball on offense and we'll continue to feed the post. I think we'll play from the inside out, and then the better we are in the post, the better we'll be on the perimeter. And we've got some guys that can put the ball in the basket. But the benchmark of our teams and the previous staffs that I've had has always been team defense and rebounding, hustle plays, and playing very unselfish and being a great teammate. So those things are going to happen. It's just going to take some time. And with the new staff and a lot of new faces, the transition will take some time. But certainly, we're going to continue to grow as a team and hopefully be playing our best basketball come February.
Overall, you know Midwest Conference basketball because you've been an assistant coach and played here in the league. What are your expectations of this Pioneer program in your first season?
Well, I think they've set the bar high. You mentioned what they've done in the past, and I think that there's high expectations, and the standard has been set high, and the bar's been set high. So, the expectations for me is one, to be a leader in your field of study academically, be a great person in the community, and continue to represent Carroll University, the Midwest Conference in a first-class way. But also, do things on the court as far as the team play, the team defense, the hustle plays, all the intangible things that help you be successful down the road. And there'll be some growing pains because it's a new staff and a new system. But again, there's pieces in place here. There's a great tradition. So we're excited about the opportunity and excited about the future of the program.
Well, thanks a lot for your time and best of luck this season.
Thank you.
And another thanks to Coach Combs for joining us. Now we're on to the Cornell College Rams, who participated in the MWC for the first time since the 1997 season last year and finished 7th in the league with an 8-15 overall record, 7-11 in league play. Chad Murray is on for his 5th season of the Rams and has all 5 of his starters return this season. Joey Guth led the team last season, scoring 16 points per game, and all-purpose guard Reggie Greenwood is back after finishing 7th in the league in scoring with nearly 16 points per game, 9th in assists with 3.5 assists per game, and 5th in steals per game at a steal and a half per contest. Last year, Cornell finished 4th in the league in scoring at almost 75 points per game and was 2nd in 3-point field goal percentage and led the league in free throws, knocking down 77% of their shots from the charity stripe. Let's take it down to Mount Vernon and talk to head coach Chad Murray. Chad, thanks for coming on. Last year, 8-15 overall, 7-11 in the league, finished 7th. First year back in the Midwest Conference. What was that like for the team and for you?
Well, I thought it was a great year for us just to get familiar with the competition in the league. There were a lot of things that we could take from last year as positive. Our offensive output was really good. So just kind of getting the landscape of the league, and that'll only help us going into this year, understanding who the teams are to beat in the league and what type of player is going to be successful in this league. I think it was good from that standpoint.
5 starters returning, that obviously is not going to happen very often. You talked about being back in the league and learning the landscape. How easier is that with all 5 starters coming back?
Well, we sort of know who we are, and now that we have a year under our belt within the league, we know who we're going to be going up against. So it allows us to make some changes, and we did bring in, there were some teams that we matched up well with last year, and then there are some other teams that we didn't match up well with. So we were able to recruit some size this year to make us a little bit more traditional in a sense where we wouldn't maybe have to go with 4 guards in our starting lineup. But with the guys coming back, we've waited a long time to be an older team, and so now we have 7 seniors and 5 juniors. So we'll be considered a veteran team, and our guys have taken their lumps, over the last 2 years, and it's been one where we've preached patience, and so we're looking forward to just building on what we've been able to get accomplished last year, and then taking it to the next step.
So obviously, let's talk a little bit about individual players here. Reggie Greenwald obviously heads the team coming back. He was top 10 in the conference in scoring, but along with him, who else should we be looking for?
Well, in addition to Reggie, I think Joey Guth from last year, he's going to be a senior also. He had a phenomenal year on the offensive end. He was near the top in 3-point percentage and even field goal percentage and points per game. And then another individual, Nick Bobb, really came on at the end, more second half of the conference, became a guy that we're going to really be able to depend on this year. And as a junior, he'll be a junior this year. And then lastly, but not least, of course, is Peter Catchings. He's going to be a sophomore for us. More of just an overall player, can really do a lot of different things well. Those are really 4 guys that we're going to have a nice season, and they're going to need to have big years.
All right, Chad. Well, thanks for coming on with us, and good luck this year.
Thank you.
Thanks to Coach Murray for joining us today. Now we're on to the Grinnell College Pioneers, who have a prolific offense back under 25th-year head coach Dave Arseneault. The Pioneers finished second in the MWC last season with a 14-4 league mark and finished 17-6 overall during the season. Last year, the Pioneers led the league and the nation in scoring offense at better 112 points per game. They also led the NCAA in 3-point field goals per game at 18 made and assists per game at nearly 20. They also stole nearly 15 passes per game, which was also tops in the NCAA. They have made the MWC tournament in 7 of the last 8 years, with their last trip to the NCAA tournament coming in the 2000-2001 season. Jack Taylor is back after missing half of last season with a wrist injury, where he averaged 36.3 points per game in 12 games played. Luke Yeager averaged 12.8 points per game, and Patrick Mayer averaged 12.5 points per game, and are both double-digit scorers for the high-powered Grinnell offense. 17 players for the Pioneers hit a 3-point field goal last year, and 13 players averaged 10 or more minutes per game, with not a single player on the roster averaging over 20 minutes per contest. Let's take it down to Grinnell and talk to assistant coach Dave Arseneault Jr. about the Pioneers. Dave, thanks for coming in. Grinnell last year, 17-6 overall, 14-4 in the league. You made the MWC tournament. Led the league and in the nation in a ton of statistical categories. Good year last year.
Yeah, it was a good year. It came to a crashing halt down the stretch with a loss in overtime up at Lawrence that would have clinched us hosting the tournament. So unfortunately, we had to go on the road to St. Norbert for the conference tournament. But going 17-6 is a great year, and leading the country again in 3-point makes and points per game is something that we like to hang our hat on. So overall, it was a good season.
So coming into this year, I imagine the expectations are the same to get back to the MWC tournament and then hopefully get back to the NCAA tournament for the first time in a while, right?
Certainly, yeah. That's always the goal, is to just be in the top 4 of the league. And with the graduation of 9 seniors, 8 of which played for us, it's going to be a tough task. We are adding some new faces to the mix, but at the same time, we're going to need a lot of guys that were in our rotation this past year and upperclassmen to really step up and fill some of the voids that we've lost.
You've lost a lot of players, as you said. Jack Taylor comes back, obviously a big piece. He got hurt last year. Luke Yeager, Patrick Mayer's coming back. Along with them, who else are we going to be looking for, and what should we expect from the Pioneers on the court?
Yeah, I think it's going to start with our senior class. We'll have 3 seniors this year, and anytime you graduate such a big class, it's leadership becomes a question mark. So to have 3 seniors, Aaron Levin, Patrick Meyer, and Cody Olson, all 3 were in our rotation last year, and I'd look for them to be key contributors, not only on the court, but also what they're doing off the court in terms of getting us prepared for the season and getting us ready to go, especially early on in non-conference and in the first semester conference games. I know last year, I was able to just kind of roll the ball out onto the court and let our seniors take care of business and get everybody in line. This year, it's going to be a lot more difficult job for myself and my dad in terms of getting the guys ready to go. But we do return a lot of our scoring. Jack Taylor, of course, before he went down with the injury, was averaging something like 38 points a game, and Luke Yeager, another junior. And then, I think that we'll also have some underclassmen that are going to be in the mix. We brought in a fairly good recruiting class that has a little bit of everything. Has a couple guards, has a couple big guys, and then our sophomore class. None of the 4 of those guys really got a chance to see the floor last year, and I still think that they can all play. I think that it was just a matter of us being really deep last year. So I'm anxious to see what they have to offer to the team, and we might not be as good win-loss wise, but I have a feeling that we're going to be able to average more points. We're going to be just a little bit better offensively this year in terms of getting up and down, and hopefully averaging even a few more than 112 a game.
All right, Dave. Well, thanks for coming in and talking to us, and good luck this season.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks to Coach Arseneault Jr. for taking the time to join us. Now we're on to the Illinois College Blue Boys, coached by Mike Worrell. Last season, the Blue Boys finished 9th in the MWC with a 6-12 conference mark and were 9-14 overall. Worrell returns nearly a full team with only 2 players lost during graduation and returns 4 starters. He also enters the season with 11 seniors that were a part of a team that finished 2nd in the league in scoring with 76 points per game last year. He also led the league in assist-to-turnover ratio with a plus 1.4 assist-to-turnover ratio. Nate Kohler is going to be looked on for the offense as he finished 5th in the league in scoring at 16 points per game and also finished 2nd in assist with 4.8 assists per game. Brandon Berry will also help shoulder that offensive load after averaging 14.5 points per game, which was good for 9th in the MWC while shooting over 51% from the field. Let's go down to Jacksonville, Illinois, and talk to Mike Worrell, head coach of the Blue Boys. Mike, first of all, thanks for coming on. Last year, 9-14 overall, 6-12 in the MWC. What can you take from last year as it translates into this year?
Well, as most people follow the Midwest Conference in basketball, there's a lot of good teams and a lot of even teams. At one point, we were 7-7 or 8-8, and we just didn't finish the stretch runs very strong. We were right in the hunt there, and when you hit that first week of February and you have 5 or 6 games to go, and you're right there bunched up with a lot of other teams, you have to win games down the stretch. We put ourselves in a position to, be in the top 6 at that point, and we just had a stretch. We lost 4 in a row or 4 of our last 5, something like that. And, that dooms your season. How you finish and playing close games is going to determine how good of a season you're going to have.
So coming into this year, you returned nearly a full team. You only lost 2 players to graduation. You bring back 4 starters. How important is that for you as a coach to know that you have that veteran presence coming back this season?
We do have a veteran team coming back. Probably the most seniors I've ever had on the team here in 18 years. Several guys have a lot of varsity experience and have played a lot of minutes. We're expecting this senior group, this is it. When they were freshmen, we were 2nd in the conference, and 2 or 3 of those players were key contributors to that team's success. And now it's time for a lot of other guys to have good seasons and help try to get us back in the top 4 of the conference. And although we have a lot of veterans returning, have the potential to play again this year. We still think there might be room for a couple new people to get in the mix and make contributions.
Talking a little more specifically about your team, you bring back Nate Kohler, who finished 5th in the league in scoring, 16 points a game, and Brandon Berry comes back after averaging almost 15 points a game. So, along with those two, what are we going to be looking for from Illinois College this year on the court?
Yeah, Nate Kohler and Brandon Berry have always been scorers for us. We're expecting them hopefully to give their usual 14, 15 points a game. Chris Mars has been a veteran. He's 6'5", 6'6", center for us in the middle. He's had, unfortunately for him and us, some injuries throughout his career. If he can stay healthy, I think he can have his best year here. Then there's a host of other guys that on given nights can score 10 or 12 for us. And we could play 10, 11, 12 guys certain nights. We have a lot of players that are similar in talent. It could be a different rotation game to game for us. And like I mentioned, maybe a couple freshmen will give us key contributions. And we just think we can be well-rounded. We're not going to count on Nate and Brandon to do everything for us offensively. We think there's some other guys that can score for us. I'm not going to mention all because we think we have possibly 12, 13, 14 people that are going to work hard and vie to get in that mix of the rotation of the varsity team. So we're looking forward to have a balanced team, although, like you mentioned, we still expect Nate Kohler and Brandon Berry to do their usual scoring for us.
All right, Mike. Well, thanks for coming on, and good luck this season.
Thank you.
Thanks again to Coach Worrell for coming on and talking about his team. Now we're on to the Knox Prairie Fire, who is under second-year head coach Kevin Walden. Under Walden in his first season, the Prairie Fire were 1-22 overall and 1-17 in league play, but only lost 2 seniors from last year's team for an experienced team this year. He returns 3 starters headlined by Mitch Murphy, who finished 14th in the league in scoring at better than 13 points per game. David Jones averaged 9.5 points per game and played a team-high 30 minutes per contest, while also leading the team in rebounding and was 8th in the MWC at 6.1 rebounds per game. Eric Miller led the team in three-point shooting percentage at 46% to give a really strong trio of offensive performers. Now let's head down to Knox and talk to Coach Kevin Walden about his Prairie Fire's men's team. Kevin, thanks for coming on and joining us. Knox last year, 1-22 overall. This will be your second year at the helm after coming back to the Midwest Conference. Is it going to be an easier season for you as a coach after a year of learning the Midwest Conference and learning your team?
Yeah, I mean, we're pretty excited about this upcoming year. We've had our system in place for a year already. Last year was pretty rushed. I didn't start until the first week of September and was kind of sprinting the whole time. Getting to know our players, them getting to know me, getting to know our system. That's what we struggled with quite a bit last year. We played a different style than what they played in the past. And having a second year, they know what to expect from me. They know what to expect from our program and the style of play. And I think that's going to be allow us to really hit the ground running in a positive direction right from the start.
Now, you talked about the new system and learning that. So what should people that are watching Knox this year on the court expect to see?
Well, hopefully the biggest thing that we tried to preach to our players last year was to give 100% every single day, give maximum effort in practice and in games. And it took us a while to do that, to give maximum effort all the time. And I think that's what you'll see. Our guys are going to go extremely hard this year. They know what to expect from us, and I think we're going to really, I think the players understand what's going to happen once the first day hits. Once October 15th hits, they know what practice is going to be like. There's not going to be any questions or confusion, and that's going to be a huge plus for us.
So coming into this season, you only lost 2 seniors from a year ago. You have Mitch Murphy coming back, who finished 14th in the league in scoring, and David Jones averaged almost 10 points per game. Along with those 2 guys, who else should we be looking for from the Knox basketball team?
Yeah, I mean, those 2 guys are good players. One a junior, one a senior. I think David's going to have a really good year. He fits our system very well and is a great person and a great leader. And I'm really excited about the senior class in general. There's 5 seniors there that are all really great individuals who lead on and off the court, great students. And that's what I'm really excited to have is guys that are well-rounded up front. Eric Miller, who was a transfer for us last year, started at the point a lot of the games, the majority of the year. He's going to be asked to carry a load. He really came out late in the year and kind of he was learning a new system just like us, and he was able to at the end really turn it on. And I think he's just going to, again, he works extremely hard, and I think he's going to hit the ground running as well. Armand Strickland's been a part-time starter for us over the course of the last couple of years before I got here and last year. And I expect a lot of things out of him too. He's a tough kid and adds some dimensions to us as far as athleticism that we don't have. And it'll be fun to see those four guys really take a giant step forward for our program, because our program's got to get better. We've got to improve, and we got to challenge each other every day in practice to do so. And I think those four guys are great guys, juniors and seniors, that are going to really push us to the next level. Along with the 5 seniors, I think I'm really excited to be able to work with them over the course of this year.
All right, Kevin. Well, good luck this season, and thanks for joining us.
Yep, thank you.
Thanks to Coach Walden for joining us. Now we're on to the Lake Forest Foresters, who finished last year 7-16 overall and 5-13 in league play under head coach Chris Conger, who is on for his 18th season. The Foresters failed to make the MWC tournament after winning the MWC in the 2011-2012 season and returned 3 starters to this year's club. Missing is 2012-13 top scorer Jeff Beck, who averaged 18 points per contest, and leading rebounder Chris Madsen, who averaged 8.5 rebounds per game, as well as nearly 8 points per contest. The Foresters were second in the MWC in scoring defense, allowing opponents to score only 68 points per contest. Brian Madsen is back after finishing 20th in the league in scoring at 12.5 points per game and 6th in rebounding at 6.3 rebounds per contest. Jordan Gibson is back after leading the Foresters on the offense from his point guard position, as he scored 6.5 points per game and averaged 29 minutes a night. Now let's head down to Lake Forest and talk to head coach Chris Conger. Chris, first of all, thanks for coming on. Last year, 7-16 overall, 5-13 in the league. Talk about missing the tournament after winning the whole thing in the 2011 season. It must have been a tough year last year.
Absolutely. It's always tough when you don't make the conference tournament. It's always one of our goals starting in the year. And I think coming off the 20-4 season the year before, I think it was one of those opportunities for our guys really to learn and kind of look back at what it took to be that champion and how much hard work went into those seasons beforehand. And I think it was a real eye-opening experience for our guys last year.
So once again, as it is traditionally a tough defense, you only gave up 68 points per game. Is that kind of the focal point of where you're going to start with this season with the team, and then hopefully build on that?
I mean, I think you always have to be a good defensive team. All of our best teams have always been really solid on the defensive end. But I think each team is also different. You got to play to each team's strength, and we'll have to see how this team develops and how it gels and where our strengths lie and where we can emphasize that.
More individually about the team, you're bringing back 3 starters. Brian Madsen comes back after averaging 12.5 points and 6.5 rebounds. Jordan Gibson also back after about 7 points per game. Along with those guys, who else and what else are we going to look forward to from the Lake Forest team?
I'm not sure which guys are going to step up. We have a lot of guys right now that are hungry and really want to get after it. Obviously, Brian and Jordan coming back are great to have. They give us a nice little combination there for us. But I think we have a lot of guys that were freshmen last year, sophomores this year, and also a lot of new freshmen. It's going to be an exciting time to see all our guys kind of gel together.
So just as a closing question, how much do you look at and rely on younger players, especially freshmen, coming in to contribute?
We've always done it. I can't think of a year that we didn't have a freshman play a major role. Even our 2 conference championships, freshmen played big roles in both of those seasons. I'm never afraid to play freshmen. Sometimes their excitement and the energy level that they bring because it is new is really refreshing for the team and can give the team a big boost. So I think we're going to be counting on our freshmen quite a bit. All right, well, thanks for coming on, Chris, and good luck. Thanks to Coach Conger for coming on and talking to us. Now we're on to the Lawrence University Vikings, head coached by Joel DePagter. The Vikings just missed out on an MWC tournament bid with an 11-7 league record last season that was good for 5th in the Midwest Conference. They also had a 13-10 overall record, but finished the season strong, winning 7 of their last 9 games. DePagter returns 2 of his top scorers from a season ago.
Chris Siebert comes back after averaging 15.1 points per game, which was good for 8th in the Midwest Conference. He also added 3.1 rebounds per game and shot 46% from behind the arc, which was 2nd best in the league. Davis DeWolf averaged 12.3 points per game and shot 54% from the field to complement Siebert on the offensive end. The Vikings were 4th in the league in scoring defense, allowing only 72.1 points per game, and were 3rd in the league in field goal percentage offense, converting 47% of their shots. They made the 2nd most threes in the league, and their 3-point field goal percentage of 38% was 3rd best in the conference. Now let's take it up to Appleton and talk with head coach Joel DePagter. Thanks for being with us here, Joel. Last year, 13-10 overall, 11-7 in the league. Just missed out on the conference tournament. What are you looking forward to this year, and what are your expectations going in?
I think obviously the way we finished last year, 5 games in a row, really playing well. Unfortunately, kind of the tiebreaker scenario left us home. We lost a couple games early in the season that kind of cost us the postseason. We only lost 1 player to graduation, a very important player, but we have 17 guys on the roster. Mainly our 8 seniors. Anytime you have 8 seniors on a team, and most of those seniors are going to play, probably 4 of them starting, I think you have high expectations. That combined with how we finished the season last year, I think expectations will be pretty high. But as always, the league is super competitive, especially at the top this year with a lot of seniors in the league, a lot of experience in the league. Hopefully we can stay healthy and just keep guys motivated and into the season. So come January and February, we're in position to get in that postseason tournament again.
You talked about a lot of seniors on the team. Who are some of the guys that you're looking forward to kind of lead the team and take some of that pressure, not necessarily off of you, but to be that leader on the floor?
Yeah, I think everybody looks to Chris Siebert a little bit. Obviously a 2-time All-Conference player. I think he was our led us in assists the last couple of years, probably in scoring, I think, as well. We run a lot of stuff through Chris. He's had some amazing games the last 3 years. Started since his freshman year, which is rare anywhere, especially here, where a kid starts for 3 seasons or now 4 seasons him starting. So everybody's gonna look to Chris to lead us, but Brian Yushkevich, also a 3-year starter. Davis DeWolf, his health always remains an issue, but he's coming in good shape, and a kid that size with a lot of experience is exciting. Tyler Mazer, who's coming back just to play basketball this year for his final year of eligibility for basketball. The last couple of seasons he's played football, and then coming halfway through basketball season, after a brutalizing football season under his belt. So having him for just basketball this year would be really nice from the beginning. There's more I'm going to forget, but it's the team and 8 seniors. We have a really good sophomore class, a small junior class, and small freshman class coming in. But 17 guys on a roster, 13 or 14 will be competing for playing time. So when you have depth like that, it's just going to be hard. My job and our job as coaches to kind of find the right lineups and utilize them all, because sometimes it's hard when you have so many guys that deserve to play. So.
All right, Joel, good luck this year, and thanks for coming on.
Thank you, Corey.
Thanks to Coach DePagter for coming on and joining us to talk about his team. Now we're on to the Monmouth College Fighting Scots, who finished last year 8th in the Midwest Conference with the 6-12 conference record and a 7-16 overall record. It was a young team last year for head coach Todd Skrivseth, who is in his 27th season with the Fighting Scots. Last season the team had 13 freshmen, and they only lost 2 seniors coming into this year, and will have no seniors on the roster for the 2013-2014 season. Last season, the Fighting Scots were 4th in the league in block shots and 5th in rebounding margin, while also finishing 4th in steals per game with almost 7 per contest. The Fighting Scots lost 2 seniors last year and big parts of the team in Wes Dukeman and Mike DeDecker, and will look towards Nick Marema as a returning leading scorer after averaging 8.8 points per game. Now let's send it down to Monmouth and talk to head coach Skrivseth about his Fighting Scots team. Todd, first of all, thanks for coming on. Last year, 17-16 overall, 6-12 in the league. How did you feel last year went?
Obviously we hoped for a little higher finish in the conference, but we were extremely young last year. 7 out of our top 10 were new to our program. 8 out of 10 were new to our program, with 7 of those guys being freshmen. So overall, I thought we had a solid year. I thought guys got some valuable experience, and we're looking forward to this coming season.
How important is that experience with such a young team?
It's extremely valuable. I think we played our best basketball the second half of the year, and if we could have had a few breaks go our way, we could have finished 500 in the second half of the season. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. But again, we got some valuable experience playing in close games against some really good teams, and hopefully that'll pay off in this coming season.
So this coming season, what are we going to expect if someone's coming to a Monmouth game? What do we expect from the men's team this year?
Well, we need to improve defensively as a team. I think that's a way that we can make some great strides. And then the other thing is we have to shoot the ball better. Our shooting percentages were not good last year from inside the arc or beyond the arc, especially. And so those are 2 areas that we've identified as places that we need to make some significant improvement. But I think what also will help is having some guys step up and provide some leadership for our program. Obviously we're in transition right now yet. This will be year 3, and we feel really good about the direction of our program. But for us to continue that development, we need some guys to step up and provide some leadership for our program.
Now, talking in a more in a different setting, you guys lost your top 2 scorers last year in Wes Dukeman and Mike DePagter. Who are those players going to be to fill the void, and who are you really looking towards in the 2013-14 season?
Well, I think we have a number of guys who can do it. It's we're going to have to do it by committee. I don't know if we have 1 guy or 2 guys that are going to be able to step in and provide some of the scoring that Mike and Wes did last year. But I feel really comfortable with our returners. I'm excited about what they did this offseason and how they look when they came back to campus. We have some newcomers that are gonna push them and hopefully contribute as well. So all in all, I'm really looking forward to the year. I think we can continue making the strides we need to make to get us back to a championship level.
All right, Todd. Well, thanks for coming on, and good luck this season.
Thank you.
Thanks to Coach Skrivseth for taking the time to talk about his team. Now we're on to the Ripon College Redhawks, who are coached by Ryan Kane in his 2nd season. Last year, they made the MWC tournament with an 11-7 conference mark and 13 wins overall. The Redhawks have made the MWC tournament in 3 of the last 4 seasons, with the last tournament championship coming in the 2001-2002 season. Only 2 starters returned for Coach Kane, and only 7 players are back from last year's roster, which does not include 2012-2013 Player of the Year Taylor Koth, who led the league in scoring at 24 points per game and was 2nd in rebounding at 9.5 rebounds per game. Kyle Lawhern is the team's top returning scorer after averaging 11 points per game last season and scored 12.6 points per game in conference contests. Lawhern also shot 47% from the field and will be complemented by Brad Brooks, who averaged over 30 minutes per contest and was 3rd on the team with 9.5 points per game, while finishing 2nd on the team with 9.6 rebounds per game. Let's take it over to Ripon and talk to head coach Kane about the Redhawks. First of all, Ryan, thanks for coming on. Last year, 13-11 overall, 11-7. You made the Midwest Conference tournament. Now, you guys have made the tournament for 3 of the last 4 years, so really having a lot of success. Is that kind of where you're looking for this year?
Yeah, in coming here a year ago and taking over the program from Coach Gillespie, certainly success was a big part of what the Ripon College program is about. And under my direction, I'm hoping that doesn't change. This is a program and a school that can attract high-quality student athletes that it takes to win and compete for a conference championship every year. And so certainly success is something that's what we're planning on here going forward.
Now this year you're a pretty young team with only 2 returning starters and 7 guys from last year's team, and you also lose the Player of the Year in Taylor Koth. What are your expectations being so young?
Yeah, a year ago we also lost an All-American coming into the year, and there were a lot of questions as to how do you replace one person, and certainly my answer was you don't replace one person. You try to do it collectively, and I thought we did that last year. The difference from last year to this year is last year we were a little bit more experienced, so collectively trying to replace a good player fell on some upperclassmen who kind of knew what to do. This year it's going to fall on some newer faces, and the ability for us to kind of gel, with those new faces, with some of the guys that helped us a year ago to that record.
So this season you bring back Kyle Lawhern and Brad Brooks. Kyle brought back 11 points per game, and Brad was second on the team in rebounding. With the youth, who else are we going to be looking for when people come and watch the Red Hawks play?
Yeah, with Kyle and Brad, certainly 2 very integral pieces to our success. I don't think we have a great year this year if those 2 don't, exceed their previous year's production. With Kyle, I think, we were playing very well towards the end of the year last year, and I think that had a large part to do with Kyle's progression as the year went on. And Brad's just been solid for us for his all 4 years, or his last 3 years here, and we're looking for another step in that direction from Brad with his versatility and the things he can do for us. But I'm as excited as probably you are and anybody else in our league, whether it be coaches or fans alike, to see what new faces will come forward this year. So I guess we're all going to kind of find out together. But it's going to be exciting. I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Well, thanks a lot for coming on, Ryan, and good luck this season.
Thank you.
Thanks to Coach Kane for coming on and talking about the team. Finally, let's go to the St. Norbert Green Knights, who finished last season as MWC champions and also finished as MWC tournament champions under the direction of head coach Gary Gresh. They finished with a 20-6 overall mark, and they were 15-3 in league play. They returned 16 of 22 players from a year ago, including all 5 starters. They've made the MWC tournament each of the last 6 seasons, winning it 3 times in that span. They have also won an MWC championship in 3 of the last 4 seasons. The team led the MWC in scoring defense, allowing opponents to score only 60.5 points per game, as they were also first in field goal percentage defense at 41%. Brandon Grice led the team in scoring and was 10th in the league at 14.5 points per game, and was also 6th in the league in assists per game at 3.7. Andrew Schwer shot 56% from the field while averaging 13.3 points per game, which was good for 13th in the Midwest Conference. Isaiah Anderson finished 9th in the league in rebounding at 6.1 rebounds per game in his freshman season. Now let's send it up to DePagter and talk to head coach Gary Gresh about his Green Knights team. Gary, thanks for coming on this year. Last year, a great season. You won the Midwest Conference Championship. You went to the NCAAs. 20 wins overall in the season. You have to be excited coming into this season based off last year.
Yeah, based off last year and on paper, to have the number of kids back that we have from last year and guys that have experience played in the postseason, on paper we have a chance to have a special year. But it's just on paper. Those things don't always go the way they're predicted. So you still have to put in the time. You still have to work for it. Still have to remain healthy. Guys have had to work out in the fall and in the summer.
So you talked about it a little bit. You returned 16 of 22 players on a team that was great defensively, led the league in scoring defense, field goal percentage defense. Is that what we're going to kind of look for? Is that what you expect again this year?
Yeah, we've been pretty vanilla. We haven't changed too much over the years. Run a lot of motion on offense, try to take care of the ball, take good shots, play good defense, and rebound the basketball.
So this year, does it make it easier to have so much of your team back? Does that take a little bit of pressure off you, knowing you can have that veteran leadership on the court?
Well, you'd hope so, just on paper, having those guys back. Brandon Grease returns. He was a first-team all-conference player. Andrew Schwer, second-team all-conference player for us. So having that experience back and having that production back is a good security blanket to have.
You talked about Brandon and Andrew, and obviously they're two of the top returners, but who else should we look for from the Green Knights this year on the court?
Yeah, well, we lost two really good shooters last year that were in the rotation. Jeremy Paprocki and Paul Appleton were probably two of our best three-point shooters, so that's a little bit of a concern for us. We added a transfer from Green Bay, Cam Cerrone. He has 1 year of eligibility left, and he has a reputation as being a pretty good shooter. And then we return Isaiah Anderson, Garrett Thorne, Andy Fox, and we'll have 5 seniors this year, so it's exciting.
All right, Gary, well, thanks for coming on, and good luck this season.
All right, thanks, Corey.
Once again, thanks to Coach Gresh for coming on and joining us. And that's it for the 2013-2014 Midwest Conference Men's Basketball Preseason Preview. We hope you enjoyed the format this year and hope you enjoyed listening to all the coaches talk about their respective teams. As we leave you, we'd like to say thank you to every single one of the coaches that came on and did an interview for us, and we'd also like to thank the sports information departments at each institution for helping set up all of these interviews. We hope you enjoyed this and hope you're looking forward to another season of Midwest Conference men's basketball. Good luck to all the coaches and all the teams in the 2013-2014 season.